Welcome back to another training with John, your performance mindset coach. In today's training, we are going to dive into the topic of overcoming imposter syndrome. If you're a business owner, if you're a C-suite executive, if you're a busy professional, this is going to serve you and help you understand why we experience imposter syndrome, but most importantly, what we can do to overcome it. So this is something that's top of mind for a lot of people because I'm sure, just like myself, at some time in your life, you have felt like an imposter. Whether it's a time you had to deliver a presentation, whether you had to have a conversation with someone, present a business proposal, whatever that is, a networking event, you have felt like an imposter. So today we want to provide actionable strategies to help you overcome imposter syndrome. I don't want it to be just more information you consume. You will get a PDF in the description that you can download that will help you implement this and make it practical for you. So let's look at the definition of imposter. So imposter syndrome is the persistent feeling of self-doubt, incompetence, and fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evident success. So that last part is important because what it's really saying and stating is it's just a story, right? You're not an actual imposter. You just have a negative story or a negative neural tag in your brain associated with this thing. So it could be, say, public speaking, for example, or going to a networking event. That's the thing that's really holding you back. For me personally, it was when I first started coaching, worries about my age, becoming an imposter, stepping into the corporate world, which I hadn't really worked in before. I'm just an imposter. Why would these people want to listen to me? And so on. They were all stories I had to work through in order to overcome. So let's look at some of the problems that people have when it comes to imposter and how it then impacts their performance and personal or professional ascension. So some of the problems, right? Number one is massive self-doubt. A lot of people experience massive self-doubt at a subconscious level. It holds them, it grapples them like a puppeteer and stops them from stepping out of their comfort zone and going into the world, doing things that's going to stretch them, that's going to help them develop, and more importantly, that's going to get them results. So how do we overcome that self-doubt that typically also amplifies the fear of failure? Everybody has some form of fear of failing in some capacity. What if my business fails? What if I fail at my job? What if I get fired? What would my family think of me if I was to fail if I started that business idea? This is all stuff that I was thinking about over and over along my journey, especially in my early days. Emotional stress, right? So as the self-doubt amplifies, as the fear riddles you, so does your emotional stress. The anxiety levels increase as you increase your expectations on yourself, which then leads to even more stress. Problems on your professional ascension. So it impacts your leadership capacity, right? Your ability to lead, your ability to ascend as a leader, your ability to tap into your emotional intelligence, which if you haven't read our blog on, you can find on our website, johnkingcoaching.com. Just head over and read the blog on emotional intelligence. But leadership, our ability to lead effectively because we don't have the self-awareness to notice that this is just a story and not the actual truth. It also impacts our ability to be able to innovate in our company, innovate as a leader and change and adapt with the times because we're going to see ourselves as an imposter because we're so glued into our identity of how we currently see ourselves. But it's also going to have a massive impact on that emotional stress, right? So again, it amplifies that emotional stress over and over where your amygdala gets hijacked in your brain, which makes it very difficult for us to think logically and actually step back and say, am I really an imposter here? Or does this mean that I'm stepping out of my current comfort zone and actually leveling up, right? So there's always two ways we can look at the situation. There's always a positive and there's a negative way that we can look at any pieces of information that's coming into us. So let's look at some of the solutions and how we can use it moving forward. So number one, increasing self-awareness. The importance of increasing our self-awareness as a person, as a leader, as a business owner, so we can get better at seeing what is the bigger picture, where are we getting in our own way, and where am I carrying a negative story that simply doesn't serve me and has absolutely no factual truths related to it, i.e., imposter. Reframe negative thinking patterns. How can we reframe some of the negative thinking patterns that we hold about ourselves, right? So we switch it into something more positive, focused, and future present orientated. And finally, building a support system, which we're not going to dive too much into inside of this one, but we will certainly run a training on that in the near future. So let's look at 1 and 2. Increasing self-awareness of self. right? Like I said, your ability to be able to understand your non-serving thoughts, feelings, behaviors, sensations, how they show up for you on a daily basis, and how does that relate to your narrative that you have around being an imposter. Practical, journal, or speak with others. So this is some practical steps. Journal out your thinking, what you feel, your behaviors, the non-serving sensations, or speak them out with others. Allow them to come to the surface so you can be aware of them and do a better job of interrupting them. Finally, we can meditate or practice mindfulness, which is simply, again, allowing yourself to slow down for long enough to actually be self-aware. How can we reframe it? Now we want to reframe the negative pattern, right? So what is that negative story? Well, how can I reframe it to something that's more positive, that aligns with my goal or the outcome I want, and then build a narrative around it. Build a mindset narrative around it that you can repeat, talk to yourself, talk to others, and over time, start to change some of that wiring that we have in our brain related to feeling like an imposter, and also at a subconscious level. Finally, then we want to counter wins, which is all the traction we're making towards our goal. Super important. So here's the worksheets that you can download that's going to help you do exactly that. Don't forget to find them in the description area. Also, don't forget to subscribe and follow our channel, because we have a podcast episodes that we will be introducing more of here. You can find them already on the channel, and we'll also be bringing you trainings and blogs each week for you to enjoy. All right, so go ahead, download the worksheets right now. Finally, the last one is on the networking and coaching, just where you can see who do you admire, who can I get access to, mentors, coaches, or network. All right, a couple of things to remember. Awareness of current mindset first. Hire a coach, mentor, can help you compress the time, and ask for honest feedback. Get feedback from others, which will help you see things that you cannot currently see. So be well, take care, and enjoy the training.